So you guys found their potential base? Momo asked later that evening. Kirishima and Mina nodded. The group had quickly decided to reunite at the apartment after Mina sent a text to Momo stating she had urgent news regarding the Liberation Army. Kirishima seemed focused on the mission. Mina, however, was smiling broadly. Very broadly. We were out getting food and, Kirishima started. And a guy sitting behind us and this woman who visited him gave some valuable information. Mina finished. But Uraraka parents, isn't that a bit too convenient? Momo thought, bringing a finger to her chin. We thought about that as well. Mina said. One of Momo's eyebrows went up. The Urarakas have always been a bit poor, right? So offer the poor company enough money, Kirishima once again started. And the company, not wanting to lose the sale, won't question any weird request. Mina said happily. Well, that explains that. Nice job. But that does leave one more question. Momo said, her eyebrow lowering. What's this? She asked, both of her hands gesturing towards the two. I don't know what you're talking about. Mina said with an evil grin while Kirishima laughed, scratching the back of his head. Mina was currently sitting on Kirishima's lap, her arms wrapped tightly around his neck. It looks as if they got together. Todoroki said sitting on another couch. Mina pressed her cheek against Kirishima's. See, he gets it, Mina said with an evil grin towards Momo. Momo's face remained confused. But since when? At the food place, Mina said simply, kissing Kirishima on the cheek. Ah. Momo had expected to tease Mina a little longer. Of course she found a way to speed the process up somehow. Of course she would. She was Mina of all people. Well, moving on from that, we know where this construction site is, yes? Momo asked, returning to the matter at hand. The newly coupled pair nodded. We can take you to it now if you'd like, Kirishima said, however Todoroki cut in. Looks like that's going to have to wait. Looks like a storm is brewing. What? The two on the couch shouted, running towards the large window. Sure enough, dark storm clouds had started hovering over the city. No way, Kirishima said, while Mina next to him looked shocked. But it was sunny just earlier today. A snowstorm this late into the season. Momo said to herself. Sure enough, thunder had sounded, a white light streaming through the clouds. Small snowflakes started to fall as the four watched. Oi, so what do we do now? Kirishima asked, looking back at Momo. Momo cupped her chin for a second before nodding to herself. We wait. The Liberation has gone back to Tokyo for the time being, and I'm not putting us in danger by willingly going out into a snowstorm. We rest for today. If anything, it's amazing we got information day one of being here. Momo looked down at her phone, checking the time. Shoto and I will handle cooking dinner tonight since you guys found the information we needed. You guys rest for the rest of the day, okay? Momo said, walking to the kitchen with Todoroki following right behind her. The couple stared out the window before sighing and retreating towards their rooms. However, while Kirishima had expected Mina to go to her own, she quickly walked into his room after him. Kirishima looked around a few times, Mina playing games and hiding behind his back until she stepped into view. Kirishima laughed. You're having fun. Not gonna rest in your room? Kirishima asked as he walked over and laid on his bed. Mina's grin grew as she slid her way onto his bed next to him. She rested her hand on Kirishima's chest, her leg resting over his. Why rest in my room when I've got the best pillow in this room? She asked happily. Kirishima raised an eyebrow. That's the first time someone's compared me to anything soft. Kirishima said. Mina snuggled even closer to him. Well, I'm the only one that's got this side of you, so it better stay that way. She said jokingly. Kirishima, however, took it seriously. I know we just got together, but this feels strangely right. Almost like it's been this way since middle school, strangely enough. I don't even think we were super close back then, but you inspired me to become a hero. Really, I was your inspiration. I thought it was that riot guy from TV. Mina asked, raising her head a bit. Kirishima shrugged. He definitely defined what kind of hero I wanted to be, but the person who inspired me to become strong and fearless was you. Remember that day the big guy wanted directions and you gave him ones to the police station? Kirishima felt Mina shudder. Oh boy, you remember that. Wait, you were there for that? She said, surprised. Kirishima laughed. I was there before you technically. I wanted to help but I couldn't move. You went in there and saved the day though. A true hero. Since then I've only wanted to be like you and jump right in, without hesitation, to save the people around me. Kirishima put a hand to Mina's shoulder. I don't think I'd want to be with anyone other than you, Mina. Mina blushed just slightly before resting her head on Kirishima's shoulder yet again. Geez, saying those things. Keep talking and I'll make you harden without your quirk. What was that, Min? Suddenly, with grace and swiftness, Mina's lips were connected to Kirishima's. Her thigh slid up Kirishima's lower body, as their warmth grew. Mina's hand traveled from Kirishima's chest to his cheek as his hands made it to her back. Their tongues intertwined as Mina had made her way on top of Kirishima. After minutes of constant kissing, Mina raised herself, now sitting seductively on top of Kirishima. Her face looked of nothing but lust and longing, eyeing Kirishima down. You think they'll be done with dinner soon? Kirishima panted, his hands now on her hips. I'm sure they won't be done for a while. You know how Todoroki likes to try and make his cuts perfect. She said as removed her top, revealing her pink soft skin. All right then, I guess this is a good reward for today. Kirishima smiled. I'll go lock the door. Storm clouds. This late into the winter. Izuku mumbled as he flew through the air. Sleeping. Ochako in his arms and Eri clinging to his back. Now that I think about it, Mom did say a storm was heading our way when I was on the phone with her. Izuku jumped from tree to tree, green energy coursing around him as he went. Izuku noticed the few bits of snow falling around him. Thunder had started bellowing. Deku, he heard Eri say, clinging harder than before. Was Eri afraid of storms? Don't worry, Eri, we're almost home. Just keep holding tight, okay? Izuku said as they flew through the now chilly. He felt Eri nod behind him, shaking just a bit. He hoped that was due to the cold and not fear of the storm. As much as he had Eri's fears in his mind, his main concern was Ochako. There was no way she should still be sleeping. Not through all this. Finally, Izuku landed in front of the log cabin's door. Crouching down, he allowed Eri to climb off his back as she ran inside before him. He looked back at the sky, the snow now falling heavily down, before turning and entering the cabin behind the little girl. He immediately made his way to the steps before hearing Eri's words behind him. Baku-chan. He heard Eri call out. He turned and saw Eri staring at a sleeping Bakugo on the couch. Since when did Bakugo take naps? From the week Izuku had spent with him, even on rough terms, one thing was made clear. Bakugo had a strict schedule he kept himself on. And naps was not in that schedule. Izuku looked down at Ochako, still being held in his arms. Were these connected somehow? Izuku frowned as he made his way up the stairs and towards their room. Izuku managed, with a little struggle, to open the door. He laid Ochako on the bed and covered her with a blanket. He gave her a quick smile and pecked her on the forehead with his lips. Even in thought, he couldn't just not take in her beauty. However, at least for the next little bit, he had to take care of some things before he could just lay with her. Izuku hurried out the room. He had two things to do before the weather got too bad. He immediately made his way to the couch. Ka-chan, Izuku said loudly. No response. Ka-chan, Izuku said even louder this time. Bakugo shifted slightly. Well, at least he was responsive. Eri, do the thing. Izuku said, crossing his arms. Eri's eyes sparkled upon hearing those words. But Baku-chan said, never mind what he said. Go ahead and do it. Izuku said confidently. Eri grinned as she backed up a bit. Shaking left and right a few times beforehand, Eri ran and jumped, landing squarely onto Bakugo's stomach. Bakugo's eyes flew open as he coughed a few times. What the hell was that? He yelled after he pulled himself together. He sat up and looked down at the little girl smiling at him, sitting on his stomach. You little runt, I told you not to. Ka-chan, what are you doing? Izuku asked before Bakugo could yell any more at Eri. What do you mean? That shit knocked the wind of me. Why don't you have a little girl put her full weight? That's not what I mean. I mean, what are you doing taking a nap on the couch? And what's wrong with your jaw? Izuku asked. Bakugo had been rubbing his jaw. What's it to you? I can't nap. Move, runt. Bakugo picked Eri up and placed her gently back on the ground before getting up to go towards the bathroom, now also rubbing his head. Also, Izuku said after examining Bakugo's movements. I'm bringing Hima here. The damned ghost girl. Why? I'd rather not have her here. Bakugo said roughly. Izuku felt his temper rise a bit. What's your problem with her? It's snowing out there. What do you mean it's snowing? It's sunny as foo. Bakugo stopped when he saw the snow out the window. What's with you and not liking Hima? Izuku asked again. Bakugo stood in place for a second before answering. She's too damned ghostly. Izuku blinked. Ghostly, ghostly, he repeated back. Bakugo had explosions coming out of his hands. Yes, ghost. Bring her here. Why'd I even give a damn? He shouted as he slammed the second-level bathroom door shut. So Hima-chan is coming here? Eri asked excitedly. Izuku sighed. Yes, Hima is coming here.